everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my December reading plans. This video is going to be my reading plans and a little bit of a heads up as to what kind of videos I'm going to be coming out with this December, because if you guys have been around on my channel for a little while, you know that every December I do a lot of like end of the year content, and previously I've done like the days of Jen's Miss or whatever. I can't remember exactly what I called it, but I will be going over what I plan to be doing this year as well at the end of the video. If you guys have been following my vlogs, you'll know that I have been recently doing very bad in the reading department. I have, as of right now, and today when I'm filming this, it is November 23rd. As of right now, I have read 3 books in all of November, which is a fine reading amount, but as someone who averages, at least this year, 10 books a month, that's not too great. December, I've had this idea in the back of my head for a little while of doing a kind of a game style reading situation. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about the books that I am going to read no matter what. And they are books that I'm going to try and read as soon as I can, whether that is in the end of November or, you know, beginning of December, whenever I can. But they are, there's a lot of them. So we're gonna see how that works. And then I have a lot of other books I want to talk about. But all right, so before the end of November, there are 2 books that I really would like to try and read, which is interesting because I think there are 8 days left in November, including today. So we'll see if I can do that. But one of them is Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian, which is a book that has been on my TBR and my radar for a little while, and I've been really wanting to read it. And Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. These both feel like November books to me, so I have to read them in November. But besides these, I have this stack of books that I would also like to try and get through in November and December as I go through, including the rest of what I'm going to talk about today. So the first one here is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. This is a little novella, including another one here. Actually, I have another novella, Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk. These 2 novellas are novellas that I would love to add into my November reading because, as I said, I've only read 3 books this month, and I feel like a good idea would be to read some novellas and help my brain not be so mad at me for not reading that many books this month. But I'm also very excited about these 2 novellas, and they've been kind of on my radar for a while. I just picked up This Is How You Lose the Time War, but it's been on my radar since it came out because people have been either absolutely loving it or finding it kind of middling. So I'm intrigued to dive in myself. And then the other novella here is Even Though I Knew the End by C.L. Polk. C.L. Polk is one of my favorite authors, and this is their brand new book that just came out like a couple weeks ago, if not last week. I'm so excited about it. It's like a noir, queer, I think it's got vampires in it, I can't remember. It sounds great. But yeah, both of these are novellas that I'm hoping to be able to squeeze into my November reading. These are the other books that I would really like to get through. These 3 are part of my cozy fantasy vlog that I'm still trying to get through. It has been pushed back and back and back in my schedule, and I'm going to have it up for you guys in December sometime. I am going to, I'm telling you that now. The 3 books that I would like to finish in that vlog before I put it up for you guys are Miss Percy's Pocket Guide to the Care and Feeding of British Dragons by Quenby Olson, which I am about 100 pages into. Then I also have The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison and Rebecca Thorne's Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. This is probably my most anticipated for this video, other than the ones that I've already read. And the only book in December that I'm like 100% going to read, other than those, is The Holiday Trap by Roan Parrish. This is my one and only holiday romance that I bought this year and that I'm going to read because I love holiday romances, even if they're like bad or just like middle of the road vibes. They give me such festive energy and I need to read it. This reminds me of my favorite movie of all time, which is called The Holiday, where you have Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet who swap places for the holidays, because this is a queer version of that. So those are the reading plans. There's also probably going to be a book club book at some point. My friends and I have a book club, and I don't know what the December pick is going to be. But anyways, let's get to this game aspect of this video because I'm very excited about this. All right, so this is inspired by Lala from Books and Lala. You know Kayla, she's amazing. She's a fellow Canadian booktuber here. She previously has done this a couple Decembers in a row since I've been kind of watching her channel. She has done this thing where she reads books in December that she has meant to get to all year. So books that she's had on TBRs that she didn't get to, or like books that she said she's gonna get to, and she ends up reading a bunch of them in December. So I was like, that's great. And I started curating a list of the books that I want to read in December, and there's like so many of them. So many of them. So I've pulled off of previous TBRs. I've pulled 3 main ones that have been on my currently reading basically all year. And I've curated a list. I have 16 on this list, but because that's not a number that's easily enough to roll a dice for, I said, why not make it 20? So you guys are gonna help me with that. But so my thing is, what I'm gonna do is I have a list here that has 20 spots on it, and I'm going to roll a d20 when I do my vlogs in December, and this d20 is going to pick the book that I read. So it's kind of a game for me. As I said, I have picked 16 of these books on this list. There are 4 slots left that I want you guys to help me with. Stay tuned, because I'm gonna show the books that you guys can pick from to fill those last 4 slots. So yeah, it's gonna be a D20 kind of a game. There are 20 books. There are going to be 20 books on this list. I don't plan on reading 20 books in December. I have not read 20 books in a month, like ever, I don't think. We'll see how my reading in December goes, but okay, we're gonna go through this list. I'm gonna show you the books that are actually on this list, and then I'll show you the books that can fill the 4 slots that are left that you guys can pick from. The first 3 are very important because they are the 3 books that have been on my currently reading list for so long, it's ridiculous. We have The Dragon of Jinsei by K.S. Veloso, of which I am 201 pages through last time I picked this up, which was in June. Or May, I think. It is the last one of a trilogy. If I roll a nat 1 on the dice, this is the one that I have to pick up and finish. Then I have Kaikei by Vishnava Patel. This is another one that has been on my currently reading since the summer. If I roll a 2, I have to read Kaikei. I am 202 pages. We have a theme going through this one. So if I roll a 2, it's gonna have to be Kaikei. If I roll a 3, it's Valor by John Gwynne, which I am 263 pages through. Then we kind of get into a bunch of books that, if you guys remember, I did a video at the beginning of the year called 22 Books I Want to Read in 2022, and I have not done very well in doing such a task, as you can tell by the non-filled out covers on this page in my bullet journal. So I have a couple that I've added to this list. I didn't add all of them because I've actually realized that a lot of them on that list are books that I no longer want to read. So I've added a few though. So number 1 is one that I talked about a lot this year, and that is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This one, if I roll a 4, I have to read Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, which is great. I think before I dive into this one, I might have to do a like Spark Notes or a Shmoop or a summary search for The Way of Kings, because it has been well over a year since I read The Way of Kings. Do I remember it at all? No. And you guys may remember that I've said multiple times in different videos that I do want to reread The Way of Kings, but because I'm trying to do a reading challenge in December, I don't think that'll happen. If I roll a 5, I will be reading The Coward by Stephen Aryan, which is another fantasy book that I've been meaning to pick up. And to me, this is very wintry, which is why it's making it onto this list. That is the only reason. I don't really have a super high drive to read this one right now, but if I roll a 5, I will be reading The Coward. If I roll a 6, I'll be reading Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This one has been on a few TBRs, or like mentioned as like an almost TBR mention, so that's why it's included, and it's also on the 22 books I want to read in 2022 book page. This one as well, which is a big epic sci-fi. There are a lot of really big books on this list. I'm not usually scared about that kind of stuff, but currently I'm a little scared for myself as someone who hasn't been reading very well recently. The next one isn't on that 22 books I want to read in 2022 list. This one is actually one that I got gifted for my birthday from a lovely viewer named Phoebe, and this one she said it was a good fall read. Did I get to it in fall? No. And I said I was going to, so I'm adding it to this list. So if I roll a 6, I'm going to be reading The Binding by Bridget Collins, and I really want to read this book, so I'm like hoping for a 6. I'm like, please let me roll a 6 because I want to read this book, but I'm very excited about it. Not a 6, a 7. I misspoke. The Leviathan Wakes is a 6. This one is if I roll a 7, so I'm hoping for a 7. If I roll an 8, I'm gonna read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zavey. This is a book, it's been on my radar, and I also picked it up this year, so I would really like to get to it as well. It's not like super high priority, but you know, if I roll that 8, it's gonna be there. All right, the next 2 are open slots, so 9 and 10, open slot. Then if I roll an 11, I will read The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, because y'all know, if you've been around for a hot second, I picked this up originally from the library, didn't read it. Had to send it back to the library. Then I picked it up again and I got 100 pages in and then I didn't do any more reading of it. And I know I'm gonna really enjoy this because people on the internet keep yelling at me to read this book whenever I mention it's one that I haven't read but I would like to, and they're like, you're gonna love it, it's so worth it, and I'm like, okay. So it's on this list. If I roll an 11, I'm reading The Blade itself. If I roll a 12, I'm gonna be reading Wind Witch by Susan Dennard, which is the second to the Truth Witch series. And I read Truth Witch back in, I believe it was July. It was for one of my friends picked my TBR, the internet version, and I absolutely adored Truth Witch. And I immediately went out and bought the 2 sequels, Wind Witch and Blood Witch. Is it Blood Witch? Yes, Blood Witch. And then I also found the novella series Sight Witch as well, so I own all 3 of those. I've been meaning to pick this one up, so it's on this list, which would be great if I could roll that lovely 12 and read this. It would be so fun. Number 13 is also an open slot. Number 14 is a book here that I've recently acquired that I've put on this list that I would love to read this wintry season, and that is Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose. This font is hard to read. Jenna Rose Nethercott. Jenna Rose Nethercott. This is like a dark Baba Yaga fairy tale situation that I really want to read. And I think it would be pretty good for this winter cozy time with a little bit more of a grim fairy tale vibe. 15, another open spot. So those are the 4 open spots. 16 is another sequel, which is The World We Make by N.K. Jemisin, which is the sequel to The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, which is one of my favorite books that I have ever read. And I gotta say, like, this one here, The World We Make, I am so amped for because I believe this is just a duology that they've written, so I am intrigued to continue with it because I was absolutely baffled by The City We Became. It was so good. So the sequel is on this list because it just came out recently and I'm like, I want to read it as soon as possible, so it's on this list. If I roll a 17, we got a few little sequels coming up here, friends. If I roll a 17, I'm going to be reading Blood Marked by Tracy Deonn. This is the sequel to Legendborn, which is one of my favorite YA books that I've ever read. So amped to get into this. Why? It is on this list. If I roll an 18, yet another sequel. We got Redemptor by Jordan Ifueko, which is the second in the Raybearer duology. I think there's probably a name to it, but yes, this is the sequel to that book. And again, Raybearer was one of my favorite YA books that I've ever read. I really need to get to the sequel because it's high time I get to the sequel. But yeah, if I roll an 18, Redemptor. If I roll a 19, I'm gonna get to read The Sphere Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. This is a fantasy book that has been intriguing me so much. I bought this for my birthday. It's kind of on the same lines as Thistlefoot. Like, I really want to read these. I know nothing about them, but I really want to get to them because I've heard really great things. This is number 19. And if I roll a nat 20 on the die, I get to read my most anticipated book of the year that I have been putting off, Bladebreaker by Victoria Aveyard. And I'm very excited and I really hope I roll a nat 20. So those are all the books that I have in this D20-esque game. So if you don't know what a D20 is, I should have explained this at the beginning. A D20 is a 20-sided die that you use mainly in D&D. And I thought, I love D&D. I talk about D&D all the time. I'm literally wearing a D&D podcast sweater. This is from NADPOD, their merch. Like, it's my favorite thing in the world, and I have not incorporated it into my reading in any way. Nice. What a better time to do that. So that is the game. That is the name of the game. Now we're gonna talk about those 4 empty slots that you guys are gonna vote for and help me with. I have 7 choices here for you guys to vote on to fill these last 4 spots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up comments in my comment section with the names of each of these books, and you guys are gonna like which one you think I should add to this list. And the top 4 with the most likes will be added to this list and into the roster, and they will either be number 9, number 10, number 13, or number 15. First up, we have The Nesting by C.J. Cook. This is a complete variation from all the other genres on this list, which is fantasy. This is a gothic thriller, and I'm very excited about it. It is a chilling modern gothic thriller, and I enjoy C.J. Cook's writing. So there's number 1. Number 2 is a cozy fantasy that is I think it's a middle grade, and it's called Redwall by Brian Jacques. So we're gonna put this on this list as well, because I think, you know, cozy's always good for Christmas time. The next one is one that is so close to just me putting it on the list because I would like to read it as well a lot, which is why it's on this list. It's The Blood Trials by N.E. Davenport. So this is, I believe, a sci-fi fantasy? I'm not entirely sure. Blending fantasy and science fiction. Amazing. We have another one that I've been meaning to read for a long time, and I've never really talked about it on my channel, but I have just continuously pushed back my audiobook hold at my library with this one for over a year now. And that is An Absolutely Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green, which is the sequel to this lovely green book right here. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing? Is that what it is? Yes. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. That's like urban sci-fi. I also have another romance on this list. It is A Lady for the Duke by Alexis Hall, which is a trans woman. There's a trans woman main character. Last time I read this, I got 76 pages in, which was in June. I'm really bad at continuing books, guys. This is just outing myself at how bad I am at sometimes reading halfway through a book and just putting it down. The next one is The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wong, which is an indie published standalone fantasy novel that I've been very excited about. This book is also very heavy. I didn't realize that until I picked it up. Wow, what a beefy boy. Oh, there's another one that I meant to read in December that I need to read. Hold on. The Nine Eyes of Lucian, which is the new Critical Role novel. I was asked to potentially join a live stream talking about this book later in December, so I do need to really get this up on my TBR, so I should probably add it to my stack of books that I intend to read in the rest of November, early December. So this one's a definite read. Anyways, that's a total ignore me. The last book that you guys get to pick from is The Genesis of Misery by Neon Yang. This is a sci-fi that I pre-ordered this year. I know very little about it, only that my friend recently read it and didn't really like it. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. But yes, okay, so those are the 7 books that you guys can pick from to add into the possibility of me reading this December. So we have, as a reminder, The Blood Trials, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor, A Lady for a Duke, The Sword of Kaigan, The Genesis of Misery, Redwall, and The Nesting. So those are possibilities to fill in for the 4 slots. Again, like which one you think I should read, and the 4 with the most likes will be added to my list. Those are my reading plans in December. Anyways, we're gonna talk about now, we're gonna get into my December video plans. In previous years, I believe I did multiple videos a week that went up, and this year, due to my mental health, I'm not doing that. But there are so many Fridays in December. There are 5 Fridays in December. So what I'm doing is I'm going to officially film 6 videos, and if that cozy vlog ends up being a thing, that will also go up. So there will be 7 extra videos and vlogs, depending on how my life goes, of course. But those videos will be, December 2nd is gonna be my November wrap up, like always. I always have those going. December 9th is going to be my 2023 anticipated releases. One of my favorite videos to film because I love looking at the books are coming out next year. December 16th is going to be my almost favorites of the year, because there have been so many books that just didn't quite make the 5-star ranking that I just absolutely still adore. So I want to talk about them. December 23rd will be my top 10 favorites of the year, and I leave that one to as late as I can because I know out of this, like if you look at this list of amazing books that I just told you that I want to read, one of them might be another favorite of mine. So I gotta make sure that I leave as much time as possible to write my favorites list down. And then December 30th will be my stats video, and December 31st will be my goals for 2023 video. That's 6 videos. And then obviously my cozy fantasy vlog might be going up. It might be going up in replacement of another vlog, or it might be going up as an extra video, who knows. And there's also gonna be one final November NaNoWriMo vlog going up at some point. Wow. So you guys are gonna get a lot of videos this month, and that was not my intention. My intention was gonna be chill out on the videos. But these main 6 are videos that I love, or at least main 5. November wrap up is a different thing. But these main 5, the 2023 releases, the almost favorites, the top 10 favorites, my stats, and my goals, are videos that I absolutely adore filming, and I will do every year because they are the ones that I'm like, I love these. I love watching people's final like wrap-up-y videos of the year, end of the year style videos. They're so fun to watch. And it's really lovely to sit back and like reflect on all the books that I've read. Anyway, my friends, please let me know, please participate in the liking game down below, which books you think I should add to this list in those 4 empty spots. And also let me know which number you guys are excited for me to roll by perchance. In like a perfect world, I should roll a nat 1, a 2, and a 3 so I can get those 3 books that I am in the middle of red. I should really focus on those, but we're gonna let the dice decide because I don't want any choice. I don't want any agency. I don't. We're gonna let the dice choose. The dice is gonna have, I just rolled a nat 4. So if that's any indication, the dice just chose for me, not that I'm gonna actually start with it, Words of Radiance. I will roll the first official dice roll in those vlogs coming up in December. So get ready. Make sure to subscribe if you are not subscribed and hit that little bell icon so you know when I upload, because as I just told you, so many videos are going up in December from me. So much content is gonna happen and I'm so excited about it. It's gonna be great. Anyways, my friends, I will catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.